You thought I fell off? You're smoking something.
Hello and welcome to Sports Tips UK. I'm Marcus J. Richardson.
And I'm Adam Thorn.
Today we are talking about the rematch between Caleb Truax and Britain's very own James DeGale. We have got another fight we'll talk about in a little bit, but James DeGale, when he was coming back after that layoff, we thought, oh, this is the one. He's going to spice up the division. He's going to give Eubank and Grove something to go at. And then he was pants.
He was. I was at the fight, was really excited for it. We were really G'd up. He was what the people were at the copper box to see. He was clearly the most well-supported guy there. That was when the atmosphere picked up. Could really feel the excitement. And by the end, he was unfairly, but getting booed.
You say unfairly, but he really didn't.
He wasn't great. No, in fact, he
got convincingly beat by somebody who was literally coming to just warm him up.
No, Caleb Truax was coming to win.
We know that now, but at the time when we did the video about it,
we just thought that James DeGale would be too good. He's got the amateur pedigree, he's got the gold medal, he's been a world champion for a little while, he's been on the road, he's been tested, and we just thought, a little injury layoff isn't going to ruin him. But something wasn't right that night, and now I don't know what it was, whether it was the back or his bicep.
It was his shoulder, yeah.
Yeah, so it was his shoulder that went. He would throw a couple of punches at the start of the round, then sort of back against the rope. I said to Chris, watch, every round it's the same pattern from about round 4 or 5 onwards. He throws a couple of punches, backs off, and then goes clockwise around the ring. But full credit to Caleb Truax, he was brilliant that night. He really took it to him, came over to a guy's hometown and took his belt.
And he's a world champion now.
He's a world champion now, so I know we always go on about this and we always say it doesn't matter, but it is nice to see. Really, really dignified in victory, magnanimous, and seems like a really nice guy as well, Caleb Truax.
Do you think Caleb Truax has got the potential to upset the cards again?
I mean, yeah, of course. He's done it once. Why not? I mean, James DeGale has been saying all the right things, saying that he's back to where he was, where he should be. He's been sparring Darryl Williams of Hellraiser. But we don't know. We don't know if James DeGale, something's gone in his shoulder that can't be replicated. I mean, you can look good in the gym.
But surely not. If he's coming back and fighting now, if he would have known in that fight if something had gone completely, and surely he would just hang up his... unless he needs the money, I guess, I suppose, one big fight.
I mean, you never know. Look, we're big fans of James DeGale here. I know we both like Chunky. I really hope not. I really hope he's better. Look, if Caleb Truax fights like that again, and the real James DeGale turns up, we've got one hell of a fight.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just James DeGale not being at James DeGale's best. Caleb Truax was incredibly good that night.
Yeah. So I mean, I think there may have been a touch of complacency in there from DeGale, which there won't be this time.
Well, certainly if there was, there definitely isn't going to be. Right, yeah.
And I think that, when you're preparing for a fight, obviously you do your research, but I think with this, he's experienced his research. He knows exactly what he's coming up against in this one.
I mean, unless Caleb Truax brings a whole different game plan, but and he might well do for a little bit at home. He might feel he doesn't have to come on the front foot quite so much.
But mentioned
there was bits of that where James DeGale was. I mean, he's got a good chin, James DeGale. We know that from he's been in some absolute wars.
Of course, yeah. You mentioned that though about where they're fighting. Obviously, it was at the Copper Box last time, so it was a home fight for DeGale. This time, it is an away fight, so that may prove a little bit more tricky for him as well.
Yep, Hard Rock Cafe in Las Vegas. It's a home fight.
But actually, it's a big fight for DeGale and an opportunity to go over to America. And maybe a lot of the Americans weren't necessarily as familiar with him losing to Truax, but it gives himself a chance to get back onto the American stage.
Because he was fighting in America, because he had that war with Badu Jack, because he's been on these big cards in America. When he won the title, being Andre Dillon in Boston that time, when he looked so brilliant, they then went and defended it in Canada against Canadian Lucien Butte. He's been on the road, but you're right, it will be good to see him back in the States, and hopefully he can put on a good show. I mean, I know there was a bit of resentment thrown towards him for that draw that he got with Jack. A lot of people over there thought that he didn't deserve that.
But to go and get a draw away from home again, though, is a big result. Whether or not it was classed as a hometown fight for Badu Jack. Like, at the end of the day, to go and get a draw, regardless, it's still an achievement.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Badu Jack is a vastly underrated fighter and has only gone on to prove how underrated he was in every fight that he's then taken. Walloping Nathan Cleverly. Yeah.
Didn't he beat George Groves, Badu Jack?
Yep. So George Groves, arguably beat James DeGale, although I actually think a draw was a fair result. Yeah. And they went to war, and then he stopped Nathan Cleverly, retired Nathan Cleverly at light heavy. When he moved up to light heavy, and everybody said, "We won't be able." Yeah. And then Nathan Cleverly is a good champion and a good boxer, and he took his title from him. So Badu Jack, vastly
has he stayed at light heavyweight?
He has. Yeah, he's fighting Adonis Stevenson. That one's coming up. I'm sure we'll preview that. Anyway, the Badu Jack thing. So look, we know that James DeGale can fight on the road. We know that he was, up until his most recent fight.
And you're only as good as your last fight.
You are, as they say.
Who do you think is going to win?
It's such a hard one, because a lot like...
Just to say, if you go back to our last video when we did the Truax DeGale fight, the fact that his answer there is such a hard one is immense compared to...
Because I was absolutely sold.
Yeah, and it just shows boxing how quickly things can change pretty much overnight.
Yeah, in the space of minutes and seconds, you know, you can completely reevaluate how you rate a fight.
So go on then, who do you think is going to take it then?
My head says it's killing me, and I know you're going to do, yeah, I don't even need to look at him to know what he's going to be. If James DeGale is in any way back to James DeGale's best, James DeGale will win.
Yeah.
However, what I saw in that fight made me think that there's something not right, and I'm not saying like mentally or something like physically not right. He just didn't look the same, and he looked bereft of ideas as well. And he's a very clever fighter, James DeGale, and that's what worried me the most. So, and also because it's a home fight for Truax, I think as I always say, close rounds will most likely go to the home fighter. I think you could see a very good fight that I think Truax nicks.
On points? Wow.
On points, yeah.
Wow, big call. Okay, moving on, because there is one of the
There's actually although there's a British guy fighting in that fight, which is what makes it the biggest for us, for you, the viewer, that's not the biggest fight of the weekend. There is a unification fight in the super welterweight division where they've got three of them.
Which the super welterweight division and the welterweight divisions, they are two of the most exciting divisions we have.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's an intriguing one. You've got three of the top 5 belts. You've got IBO and WBA champion Erislandy Lara. Now this man is a man who, before Gennady Golovkin started getting the big fights, people actually started having their hand forced and having to get in the ring with him. Since that, he's lost the reputation. That reputation as being the most avoided man, Golovkin this is. That's been taken by Erislandy Lara. He's an incredibly tricky fighter, difficult to look good against, just knows how to shut his opponent down. Now, he has been beat a couple of times. He got beat by Canelo Alvarez, actually beat him, but he's got 2 of the belts. He's got the IBO and the WBA, and he is insanely good. He's fighting 21-0 IBF champion Jarrett Hurd. Jarrett Hurd is a lot earlier in his career. He doesn't need to be taking a tricky fight, so it's a really good sign that he's going for the guy that you could just sort of sweep under the carpet, and so they're getting in the ring together, and it's a unification fight. That's what boxing's all about. You don't get too many of these. And
it's going to be the middle of the night. They're both going to be middle of the
night. Yeah. These will be like 5-6 o'clock in the morning probably, depending on which one comes first.
Adam always likes to come first.
No, I think as was good.
Unless he's doing that, and then no one's coming.
That again. Fuck's sake. Anyway. As DeGale is promoted by Frank Warren, you'd expect Box Nation to pick this up in the UK. It wouldn't go on BT because it's too late at night. We'll see.
Do you fancy either of those? Who do you think is going to take it?
I don't know much about Hurd. He stopped Austin Trout, who's a good quality guy in his last fight, but Lara's a difficult guy to beat, and it might have come just a bit too early. Don't forget Lara, he stopped Yuri Foreman early last year. He beat a guy who was 20-0 in his last fight on points, Terrell Gausha, and that was on the same night as Jarrett Hurd fought and won his title. Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's another points win here.
Okay.
I think I'm going to go for Lara on points.
Okay.
And it could be quite a negative fight.
Oh, really?
I think it's one that the boxing purists could end up jizzing in their pants over because of all the technicalities. But I don't think you're going to see two guys going absolutely toe for toe. In fact, I almost guarantee that's what you won't see.
Well, there you go. So you think a Truax points victory? And
I don't want it to be a Truax points victory. As much as I like the guy, James, I hope you do it. I know you won't be watching, so I don't know why I've done that. But I really hope James does it.
We love you, James. All joking aside, though, a couple of points victories for you there on the side. If you do fancy a punt there, it will be a late one. If you are going to be staying up, good luck and enjoy that. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I've been Marcus J. Richardson.
And I've been Adam Thorn.
Until next time, peace.
You thought I fell off? You're smoking something.